41, Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Success Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, special meeting. Call for order.
Mayor Kim?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Castro? Councilmember Rivera?
Here.
Councilmember Bravo?
Here.
Councilmember Moreno?
He's in the hall.
He's coming in the hall.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Garcia. Public comment not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on closed session items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and the place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing item not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and the comments to the City Council. I believe nobody wants to talk, so adjourn to the closed session. A closed session of the City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, Success Agency, Calexico Financing Authority may be held in accordance with the state law, which may include but is not limited to the following types of items: personal matters, labor negotiations, security matters, providing instruction to real property negotiators, and conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. The closed session will be held in the City Hall conference room located at 608 Heber Avenue, Calexico, California. Any public comment on closed session items will be taken before the closed session. Any required announcements or discussion of closed session items or actions following the closed session will be made in the City Council chambers, 608 Heber Avenue, Calexico, California. Closed session number 1, public employee appointments, Government Code 54957B, title City Manager. 2, conference with legal counsel, anticipate litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2E1, 2 potential cases. So we have anything? So we're gonna go to the closed session, the closed session to 5:44. Okay, we're gonna have time to turn off the cell phone, please. Six 24, Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, special meeting. We'll start. Call to order.
Mayor Kim?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Castro?
Here.
Councilmember Rivera?
Here.
Councilmember Moreno?
Here.
Councilmember Bravo?
Here.
Mayor, did you just say we have to turn off our cell phones?
Yes, please.
What? We have to turn off our cell phones?
I will get asked them.
Mr. Mayor, before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, I do believe we're missing an item on the agenda, which is the announcement of closed session items.
We can open first.
Okay.
We
I'd
can
like to
open-
add that to the agenda.
Yeah, it's not there. Okay, I think so do we call everybody?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia, we can call them, thank you. We have, please, we're going to have by Mr. Herrera, Bobby Herrera. Would you do the pledge of allegiance to? Okay, before the approval agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
We should put in the adding of the report from the closed session.
Well, that's.
We're gonna have a report from the closed session by lawyer, please.
Correct. City Council met in closed session on those two items on tonight's agenda for the public employee appointment. We did receive, there was discussion, and we did receive direction on that item, move forward with it. For conference of legal counsel and anticipated litigation, two cases, there were discussion, but we received no direction on that item.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
So, second.
Motion made by Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Leal second. Have a vote.
Aye.
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 The 5-0.
On the agenda, right?
Announcement, this proceeding may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Public comments and the public appearance. To note, not to exceed 3 minutes, this is the time for the public to address the council on any item on the special meeting agenda. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and the place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. Please direct your questions and the comments to the city council. We have two persons wants to talk. Number 3, Ms. Padilla, Maribel Padilla. Yeah.
Maribel Padilla, Calexico. I just wanted to ask of the council, when we get to this item, that you guys actually give us suggestions on how to fix this mess that the police department is. I don't want to sit here for an hour, 2 hours, hearing how every single one of you is going to blame so-and-so, and they did that, and they did that, and whatever. I don't want to hear no blame. It's in the past, whatever happened. What I want to hear is how you guys are going to fix it. My recommendation, shut the thing down. Shut it down, get the sheriffs to come in here, let it go for a couple of years till we can get it back up to where it should be. But right now, it's a mess, and it's been a mess. So some of you guys didn't believe it was a mess, but it turned out to be, it is. So for now, we want to hear what you guys are going to do to fix it. We don't want to hear who was responsible and who to blame.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. Mr. Hodges, you didn't put the name on the agenda? What number agenda are you talking?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't realize you had it on the agenda, but it pertains to the police. Can I get up?
The number 3?
Slowly.
Thank you.
Good evening, Bill Hodge, 1268 Opal Court in Calexico. I haven't been here for a long time, so it's great to see you, Honorable Council and Mayor and staff and everybody else. Hi, Nick. And you are in my prayers, all of you. Anyway, but here's my main argument. My main argument is, here's the solution. Bring back the 3 officers that were frozen out of the budget. According to the information I'm receiving, there are 3 officers that left, and officers should have filled those positions because they are in the budget. Right now, the citizens of Calexico are not safe. The city is not being adequately protected. Our police department is seriously understaffed. Citizens contribute and pay city taxes, so they deserve to be protected. Right now, there is a 3-to-1, according to the information I received, a 3-to-1 ratio of officers and staff sergeant during a shift, sometimes 2-to-1, mainly on Sundays. This situation has caused, here's the problem, long delays in service. Imagine, citizens are being physically threatened or burglarized, and they wait for the service. And finally it comes. Or, I was told by hearsay that there was a call and the police never showed up. It's not their fault, though. It's not their fault, because they are understaffed. And so are the dispatchers, which a fight that I've taken on for a long time. And it's not true what Mr. Bostek said, that only 7 calls come in on a 24-hour basis. I mean, come on, we're a border city. We're thriving and we have a lot of activity. That's a lie. It's been verified that about 63 calls come in daily, and we still don't have enough dispatchers to take care of it. And because the understaffed dispatchers can't adequately take calls, this hurts and puts unnecessary pressure on our understaffed police officers. Once again, long delays in service, and key, they can't be proactive in direct enforcement. And that doesn't make for a very good police department if they can't be. So what must be understood is that what is essential, and the key word is essential, for any city at any given time is to have adequate police and fire service. Now, I haven't been able to talk to the fire department. I don't know if they're in the same situation, but if they are, they should have adequate service. Adequate. I'm not saying having extra, just adequate. We're not even adequate. It's like this, if I may use a metaphor or a comparison. A family budgets their income, but they don't have enough money to pay all their bills. But the one thing that dad knows that is essential, because he's got children, is that they are not going to cut drastically their food, because the food is essential. It's a necessity. The police department and fire departments are necessities. They're a different game, ladies and gentlemen. They don't compare or fall in the same areas of other departments. We need our police to be adequately staffed. And it's hard for me to say this, but because I believe of the great amount of infighting and making policy decisions with the city council here out of spite or revenge, instead of what's important for the greater good of the community.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge.
All right.
I think your famous 3 minutes.
So let's bring back our officers.
Thank you.
And we don't need the sheriff's department. They don't know what to do, everything anyway.
Okay, next person. Mr. Acuna, Sean Acuna.
Right here.
Good evening, members of the council. Sean Acuna, President, Calexico Police Officers Association. And I just want to make a few comments on the DOJ report. About 90% what's contained in that report is not a surprise to the police department or to the council. These are a lot of things that we knew about, and it took basically an outside entity to identify them or to be impartial towards them. And although there are a lot of things that are deficient or could use improvement, there's also a lot of things that we can do to address them and make them right. And, one of the first things that we can do that's at the forefront of this, in order to meet those requirements and, fix those deficiencies, we need resources, and we need resources in the form of personnel. You can't make any of those things happen without bodies. And I understand right now that the city of Calexico, we're under, there's a lot of financial constraints, and so we're not going to be able to make those changes right away. What we first need to do is have the city recover, and as the city recovers, we're going to be able to meet those milestones that were set forth by DOJ. And in the meantime, all that we're asking that the city council do, or the city manager at this point, is replace the 3 positions that were budgeted. By doing that, we're not going to be at an optimum operating level, but at least it'll stop the bleeding. We'll be able to add the basic services that the citizens deserve. And and at least by doing that, we'll be able to move forward. And as the city recovers, we can bring in more resources, more personnel, and meet more of those goals. And I want to say right now, one of the biggest things that plagues Calexico is theft. And, I know in the DOJ report it talked about that we were inefficient in the sense that we didn't know how to track crime trends and things of that nature, but that's really not true. Our officers work 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We know exactly what the crime problem is. We know who's committing it. We know how to address it. Unfortunately, due to our shortages, we have to take a different approach. Rather than arresting a drug offender for being under the influence of a controlled substance, which upon conviction places them on formal probation for 3 years with a search clause, a lot of the times, to save time, we just have to arrest people for public intoxication, which basically has no consequence, and if anything, if they do get convicted, is a summary probation. So it really does nothing to alleviate the crime problem. So we've been talking with our chief, and we've strategized on how to address this issue, to become proactive, to make a dent in crime, even though we're short on resources, and we've come up with a couple ways to address it. And you see how much time I have here. If I had a little more time, I would get into that, explain a little bit how we go about doing that, which would also be at no cost of overtime to the city. But it is going to require a little bit personnel in order to do that.
Mr. Mayor, I think that we should allow the president of the union to be allowed a little more time to continue his discussion. Very important.
Sure. Yeah, a couple things that have been strategized thus far, or I'm sorry, did I get permission? Or?
This one that should not say much about the union negotiation. This one just like we're talking about the DOJ report. And part of the union's opinions on you guys to how we're going to deal with it, or whatever you have to contest it, that's where we have to be in there.
Right. This actually isn't union negotiation. This is a strategy on how to address crime.
Correct.
May I proceed, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things that we've talked about, it would require a minimum of 4 more bodies, because we currently have 17 patrol officers. And with 4 more bodies, we would be able to potentially work what's called a 12-and-a-half-hour shift. A lot of agencies, for example, like the city of Anaheim, they work 12-and-a-half-hour shifts. And what happens is you work 3 days a week with 4 days off, and on your 4th week, you have a 10-hour makeup day. So what would happen is you have 2 patrol shifts that come in. You have one shift that handles patrol, and then once a week you'd have an overlapping shift that would come in and would do directed enforcement activities. So, the big problem in Calexico, we have roteros, we have people that are under the influence committing burglaries and thefts. We got vagrancies in the parks. So once a month or once a week, at no cost of overtime to the city, you'd have an entire shift that would overlap and do directed enforcement activity. And that's how we would basically begin to start to do more with less, okay? It just requires 4 bodies to do that. Another way to address it is through Stone Garden. And then ultimately, if we didn't get the 4 bodies, we could use Stone Garden. And if we didn't get the 4 bodies, the other option would be to have a sign-up list of overtime. But of course, we want to try to mitigate overtime as much as possible because of the financial situation. We've also been working with the city manager to strategize on how to save the city money. And I won't get into that aspect because that does deal with negotiations, but we've come up with a couple plans that will provide savings to the city. And I just want to let you know, all the officers of the Calexico PD are very proud of the city that we work for. We take a lot of pride in being police officers here. We do have the finest police department. We have the finest police facility. We are the best paid out of anybody in the county. And a lot of that is, a lot of our officers are educated. They have higher levels of education compared to other agencies within this valley. And it kind of hurts me to hear Ms. Padilla, say she wants to dissolve the police department. That would totally be a step in the wrong direction. And I think for every Calexico citizen to admit defeat. And, we don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. And it's just a challenge that we need to rise and overcome. And one other thing I'd like to mention, we are going to save money. Nobody has mentioned this thus far. We talked about where we have a $3 million deficit right now, right?
Can you wrap it up?
Yes, I'm going to wrap it up real quick.
Thanks.
$3 million deficit, and we've had a consultant basically tell us what we need to do to overcome that over the next 3 years. So what do we do in the meantime as far as all the city departments? Well, because we're short-staffed, it's important to know we're going to start saving money from this day forward because we don't have $1 million investigation going on right now. We don't have the staffing level that we're supposed to, and we're not paying $250,000 inflated salaries to department heads. So right there, that's a tremendous savings. And just a quick figure, just based on the 10 officers, the 7 that were fired and the 3 that have not been replaced, that's a total savings right now of $1.3 million. So we are saving money, and it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but we are going to recover. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you don't have nobody don't want to discuss number 3, I'd like to see the Mr. What's called? I'd like to see the Mr. Okay, Mr. Yanes.
Manuel Yañez, 1089 Santiago. Just for clarification, $3 million deficit for the officer. I am in the Financial Commission, and I noticed there's $3 million deficit for this year. And the officers, the police department and the fire department is taking 75%, it's around 75% on the budget. What it means, we are around 15% more than the other cities, local cities and the county. What we had done to cut the deficit, we had done nothing. We had a deficit every day, and I had mentioned this before. We had a deficit around $8,000 every day. Nobody mentioned that. I believe they are afraid to do that. $3,000 deficit has to be cut by $8,000 every day. That's a clarification, and I just want to mention that for the police office. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yanes. Okay, I'd like to have a police chief to say about this report.
We're on agenda item number 3.
Yeah.
I really don't have much to say about this report, Mr. Kim. The report was already completed by the time I was hired. So if you have any questions of me.
From our city side, so we are accepting 100% of this reform report from the DOJ. That's everything is correct.
Well, I can't say all the things are correct. I don't believe we have cartel members dealing drugs on duty. And regarding that kidnapping, that was misinformation. But the decision to proceed with this is going to be a local decision based on the elected officials, not by me.
Okay, so
And I would withhold making decisions right now, because I'm still waiting for the Department of Justice to contact me to let me know what the next step is.
So in other words, at this point, we can't plan how to remedy all the recommendations?
We can proceed as it is. A lot of these are accurate, and these are problems that have been here since I worked here. A lot of them can be done seated in front of a laptop. But the major issues are the staffing levels. What you heard Mr. Cunha say should not be a surprise. When I did my status of the department address, I said that we need more dispatchers, records clerks, and police officers, because it's not just an issue of officer safety, it's an issue of the community safety, because they're having extended arrivals or extended waits for the officers to arrive when they have their call for service.
I have a question. So what, in your expert opinion, what is adequate staffing? How many officers do we need, not in total, but how many do we need patrolling the city of Calexico?
If we consistently had 4 with the sergeant, that'd be a start.
But that's not adequate. What would be the ideal number? 4 and 1, 5 and 1, 6 and 1, 10 and
If
1?
I could always have 4, if I had always had 4 plus a sergeant, but you also have to take into account, people are going to take vacation time, people are going to go training, people are going to call in sick, people have emergencies. So
Ideally,
we have 4 beats.
correct.
So you normally want to staff it with 1 officer per beat.
So you want to be 4 and 1?
Right.
At 4 and 1, at 4 and 1, you would say the city is safe.
No, I can't say the city's safe. There's no city safe.
I understand, but it's well patrolled.
I wouldn't even say that.
5 and 1, are they well patrolled at 5 and 1?
Well, that's a start in the right direction.
10 and 1? In other words, if I was to give you an unlimited budget, how many officers would you have on the street?
Well, if it was an unlimited budget, I'd research FBI stats. Their basic rule is 1 per 10,000 citizens in the city. But seeing how we're a border town, that's not our actual population.
Correct. So let's say we're 40,000 residents, and it used to be said that it was another 40,000 around here, but I think I don't think those are accurate anymore. But what are we, maybe at 60?
I'd say 65, 70.
60. So 6 officers patrolling would be a good number. 5 and 1.
Well, not necessarily patrolling. The condition of the department, well, when I was interviewed by the Department of Justice, I asked them if I could tell them the condition of the department when I left. And they said, sure. And I advised them that we had 4 and 1, 4 officers and 1 supervisor, sometimes 5 and 1. But we also had 2 motorcycles. We had 3 school resource officers. We had officers assigned to special task forces, 3 of them. And then we had officers assigned to patrolling the housing authority. They were also paid by grants. The position I held was administrative sergeant, so I oversaw all these special projects. That's why I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the Department of Justice report, and I'm saying, this can be resolved if I just had staffing.
Do you know the amount that the PD, what the PD, this fiscal year that just passed, how much it was from the general fund? Do you have a number? Or maybe,
I don't have those numbers.
Eduardo, do you have that number? Obviously, as of August 30th, do you know? Because Officer Acuna brought up something that sparked my interest.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Real, can you repeat the question, please?
2014-15, right, which is last year. You have those numbers already, correct?
Yes.
The police department, what was the overall budget?
We're talking about 7 million, 7.3 million.
7.3 million, okay, 7.3 million, okay.
When you say
So-
budget, we'd have no budget. Are you talking about expenditures, rather?
The actual expenditures.
Because we still don't have a budget. We're not talking
Expenditures.
budget, we're talking
So
expenditures.
2015,
Actual?
16,
With
2015,
14.
so 7.3. Now, 2015 and 16, what have we spent so far?
5.6, I don't have the numbers right now, in my head, but it's 5.
So are we on point to reach around 7 million, or no? Is it going to be under?
Well, that's what, they are no final numbers for this fiscal year. but
Correct,
It's
but-
very close, it's very close.
So they should be about the same?
No, it's going to be less because we don't have expenditures for one time, like at investigations or pay to officers on what's happened last year.
Okay, so we'll know by the end of June 30th.
Oh, yeah, for
Right.
sure, yes.
Okay.
Roughly
All right.
how much would it be?
He says he doesn't know.
Mr. Gutierrez, roughly how much would it be this year? For the
Do you have a
police
ballpark on this year? I mean, you could take 1 month and divide it times 12, you'll probably get a good idea of what the budget is, right?
Yes, that's.
Do you
what
have
I'm
an
saying.
idea where we're at? 6 million, 6.5?
You're
you know?
talking about the department?
Department, yes.
The police department.
Correct.
It's going to be 5 point around something. Analyze, of course, it's not the final numbers. We're still working on closing the books
Okay,
and allocate insurance and,
okay.
but it's going to be around 5.6, $6 million.
$6 million.
Around.
So.
It's an estimate, okay?
Okay, so in other words, because we're not, the officers that have been, the officers that we don't have, it's about $1.3 million that we haven't spent because they're understaffed, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we are short-staffed.
I have a question for the city manager. When we were talking budget, when you started in September, you said that the budget that had been set up and wasn't adopted had issues, fine. But to date, we still don't have a budget. But I remember that you had indicated that what you were going to do is that you were going to go to each department head, correct me if I'm wrong, and you were going to work with each department head and ask each department head how much each department head feels that they need in order to be able to operate. And you were going to kind of go that way in order to be able to shape up their budget. Was that correct? Did you still handle it that way?
Yes, that's correct, and that's currently being done. They each have their own budget worksheets, and they are going to be presenting their budgets.
Okay. So Chief Gomez, did you turn that information into the manager where you actually gave your expectations, or not rather your expectations, but your budget requirements in order to be able to operate at a base, your department? Did you already provide that to your city manager?
If it hasn't been turned in last week, it should be turned in today. I tasked my administrative assistant to turn it into City Hall, but she called in sick today.
Okay. Because this
So if it
department and
didn't
every
happen
department.
last week, it's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay. I think it's really important right now to establish the funds that are available for this discussion. I know that maybe today we're not prepared, but I know that we still are missing to know the balances for many of the funds that this department can use. And I think that if we're bringing this to the table, we do need the information, the proper and full information about budgets, so we could know what we're working with to know if these expectations that are happening and that are being requested of you, if they're even viable, with what exact, at this point, we should do this already, is the exact amount that you have available, what you've requested, what your requirements are, and have a better picture. We need to move forward with facts.
So as far as, I want to touch on something that Councilwoman Hurtado said as far as the budget. And the reason why the budget's taking so long is because usually you'll have a real budget prior year, which means that you can use those numbers to do the new budget pretty easily. But we had fake budgets for the last, 3 years? Inflated numbers and fake budgets for the last 2 years, correct? And so that's why, city manager, is that correct? That's why it's taking so long? You're going to have to redo the whole 3 years pretty much? Thank you.
By the way, have all other department heads been delivering the budget requirements to you?
They all get submitted out, and we're expecting any response sometime this week, so we can get that back.
Thank you. So it looks like I have several questions, Mr. Gomez. We mentioning about the kidnap case of the minor. We cannot mention the name. But is that the case before the October 13 or after October 13, 2015? I mean, 2014.
I don't,
Excuse me,
I don't
Mr.
have
Chief, just what page are you looking at, Mr. Kim, on the report? Just for
13?
Page 13?
Yes.
Second paragraph?
Yes.
13? I got my.
It talks about the reorganization?
No, I'm talking about the tip for that.
What does it say there?
No, here,
Page 11.
page 11, yeah.
Second paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, I see it.
It was October 13. Is that case before the October 13 was kidnapped it or after October 13 for 2014?
I don't have the exact date of the incident, Mayor Kim, but this would appear to be it.
To be under the Bostic's supervisions.
I believe it was under Pompeo Tavares.
But here, the writing as like a former chief, Mr. Tavares.
Right. The date the allegation was made, though, was made during a community forum.
Mm-hmm.
So even then, it was inaccurate.
So that means that from the Tavares times?
The incident occurred in 2013, but it was reported during a community
2014.
forum.
It was happening in 2014, not 2013.
That's when the allegation was made during a community forum. The Department of Justice sponsored community forum.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to check the exact date by going back to the files.
Okay. And the other one is, they have some, I think page 13, we have a lot of checks or money has been not recorded. How many checks or how many action items is not recorded when you come in to find it? I think we were talking last time about how many checks, how much money was hiding or under the desk.
I do remember making a presentation at a
Yeah.
city council meeting where there was a box,
Mhm.
and administrative assistant went through the box and found some checks
Mhm.
and cash. I recall there being a $10,000 check, something for a check of $600, and a couple $100 in cash.
Yeah, so one of the cash more than $10,000 was, no?
I think that was the highest one, the $10,000 check.
So which is, Mr. Bostic informed or the DOJ found that those kind of things not being record, and when you coming in, you still found something. So what happened there? Is it additional or the same time the DOJ found it and then they didn't do anything?
No, these checks I found.
You found it.
I and my administrative assistant.
So additional, the process is, additional job is not been doing right then, besides this report.
Well, it's pretty safe to say that these questionable accounts were still were still open during my predecessor's tenure as chief. I believe there was at least 2 accounts that I closed. Is that correct? About 2 accounts?
So they have several accounts or some of the money or checks not implementing the budget.
Yes, sir. There was 2 accounts that were not included in the city budget or department budget. We ended up closing them.
So actually Bostic itself failed to supervising his own department then.
That's one way to look at it.
And the other one is number 13, still number 13, we have a chart for the police department charts. And what I understanding, city manager, police chief of the police, and then they have 2, well, the executive was called the assistants, one of them, the other one internal affairs. And they have 3 lieutenant positions open. I don't see any commandant's position there. Even this one is not approved by the administration or nor by the council. And then he is sitting himself at the commander. What's going on there?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
So a lot of things DOJ report is showing us how much we have to improve ourselves. Yes, I agree 100%. I agree we need to have improve ourselves. We need to train our staff, and we need to fulfill the more number to be able to serve the community. And I have several complaints from the citizens. They said, oh, they called the police, they come, and they were saying, they said when they come, they said, oh, we had more important issues we had, so we couldn't come. So we disturbing the community. And I believe at this point we have a lot of pressure from the community, and during this DOJ report, I believe three council members supported this. And but we have to find out our own way to saving our own entity. And we have to find, that is, if we don't get help from the police department union, we won't be able to do it. So I really loudly to ask all the police department employees, help yourself and help the community. And city, we have to find a way to support you guys. Maybe additional training, or of course additional number we're supposed to have it too. But with the limited budget, I believe we have some kind of like question how we're going to do it.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Mr. Gomez. Seeing that this is a great amount of information, over 90 recommendations and or 90 findings, and then recommendations at about 2 or 3 or 4 each of the findings. Would there be a community forum to maybe discuss this in chunks that the people would be aware? Would that be something that your department would consider? Because this is a lot of information, and it's to the layman out there, to the people who are not in law enforcement, it's a pretty daunting task to decipher all of this. So I'm not sure if your department would maybe go and do a town hall and chunk this into certain areas of expertise and possibly share with the public on how these things are going to be addressed, rather than going into a lot of these specifics that Mayor Kim has gotten into. I'd rather see how we're going to address things. These things have been going on for a while, like you said, since you've been since you were an officer on the beat in Calexico. But this is a wealth of information, and some of us that don't have the training in law enforcement and the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, I think it would be in the best interest of the community if we were to look at that in a respect where the public would be invited to listen to presentations by your officers. It was very positive to hear Officer Acuna saying that, you know, there are some things that can be addressed easily, and there are some things that you said as well that can be addressed. It's going to take personnel, and I think that's the first order of business if we're going to really abide by this plan or this guide or this review, if you will. So my question to you, would that be something to consider?
That's something definitely to consider, but I'm still waiting for contact from the DOJ Cops Committee to find out what their next step would be, because I'm sure they have a wealth of resources they're willing to share with us.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah,
Mr.
go
Mayor,
ahead.
I'm going to ask the city manager, when will we be able to give this department primarily information, much more concrete information as to how much money is available to them in their budget? I'm a little taken aback to know that we're really not there yet, and it's been a while. So this problem that we're facing right now has a lot to do with the availability of funds. So we need to know now how much money is available, not only to this department, obviously, because, you know, as far as I see, I mean, this department doesn't even know how much they have available to spend. Do we really want to have that continue going with all of this? I think we need to push in order to at least this one department have the complete information to have the tools that we need to make decisions.
Well, the big decision is going to find out, we need to find out how we're going to cut $3 million off the budget.
Correct,
because
but
we have a shortfall.
we don't have financials to look at. And so we're all basing these conversations without the concrete information. We looked at the fund balances the other day, they're not there. So we do need to conclude something here so we can have those tools. It is not fair to the staff anymore to continue to operate like this and make such important decisions without concrete financial information. It's time.
Hold on one second. So you're saying we don't have concrete financials? So what, since Susan Mayer showed us up there, is not real? I just want to clarify that because
Those are the current numbers we have.
those are realistic numbers.
It's not complete.
So they could only go up, they
Because
can't
the
go down.
department, for example, has many funds that they should
Correct.
be aware of their balances. All of those funds are available to them. So when they're ready to spend and create a strategy, they need to know what's available to them. Legal, can you chime in on
I
the
wish you
fact
would have
that
been here at the last two
that we,
budget meetings, that you would have learned a
it's
lot.
not time to point fingers, Mandy, Mr. Rayad? This is about solutions, and in order for us to find the solution, we cannot find a solution without having the facts. If you want to rely on absolutely preliminary information, fine, but we're only looking at general fund, and this department doesn't have just general fund to spend. They have other funds too. We don't know about those either. So it's been long enough, and we're in a position where we really need this now. And I'm pretty sure Chief agrees that we need to move forward without being so blind to the situation and know exactly everything we need to know, all the areas of money available to you.
Okay, I think, Mr. Hurtado, you have to understand the government budget. Government budget, by June 30th, unaudited actual going to be report. That is a projection coming up. We're going to have so much we're going to spend it by June 30. That's some of the expenditures projections. And September, we're going to have another unaudited with budget, which is including the federal budget, the cut by the September. That's why we have another one. So actually, final one, we have a November approving the final ones. But I think we never had those kind of action in the last couple of years. And then actually, these next months, we're going to have the budget. That's going to be the number we're going to be, even that number is going to be not going to be correct. It's a projection because how much it's going to be by end of the June 30th. Then we're still going to have another one adjustment in the September. So whatever number we had the last time, that's kind of we can say it's a factual number. But we just need adding how much it would be more money during the rest of the time.
The
I think-
last actual budget with some type of expenditure report, I think, was December of last year that we saw, with actual physical look at it. Because one thing is, as your representative, I like to look at things and not just be told that they exist. And I think that transparency right now is really important. It's time. I think
Yeah,
we need
it's,
to.
yeah, it's time to have we have a real budget. We don't need a comic book like last year's.
Well, it's been a year almost, and that's why I think a lot of us are
Yeah,
concerned.
I see a lot of caricature over there. So much books, pages.
Well, I'm glad that Councilwoman Hurtado now wants to hold accountable the department heads and
No, I'm
be
not
fiscally
holding
responsible.
accountable. What we're trying to do is
Because
provide the tools.
you have you were a department head at the time, right?
We don't
Nick?
want to have the police
Did
department
you-
set up for failure. We don't. We want this police department to
When you're
have all
done,
the
let me know.
information, be transparent, and let them operate. Let Chief Gomez do what he has to do. He knows what he's doing. This council is not an officer with the experience. We need to give him the proper tools to be successful. And it's been a long time that he's been here with us, and he has no idea what his budget is. But yet all these world of problems are here. I don't think it's fair anymore to this department.
Thank you. So finally, Ms. Hurtado tried to work with Mr. Gomez. Thank you.
I think there's a lot of problems, but I think nobody wants to address the big problem here.
I'll address them once we have
And
the facts. I definitely think we need to bring
The facts
that.
were here last meeting.
Those were not
and-
facts, sir. They're
Okay.
preliminary.
So the
And as a
DOJ
matter of
the
fact, I've
DOJ
asked-
Let's do one by one, please.
The DOJ report came out. There's a lot of problems that everybody knows have been there. And you guys need officers, and I completely understand that. We want the city to be safer. But it's really easy. City manager, do we have the money to hire more officers, and do we have the money to fix the issues that Department of Justice wants us to fix?
Not with our current revenues, no.
Okay, so that's the problem here. Everything comes down to money. I mean, you can't do anything without money. And so that's the basic thing that we need. I mean, we're working a skeleton crew right now, and we're spending $13 million on salaries, benefits, payroll, and everything, general fund, and we bring in 14. I mean, and we're $3 million in the hole, well, $4 million in the hole. We're $4 million in the hole, so you don't have to just drop $4 million off your general fund. You have to drop about 5 to go ahead and get up to adequate staffing at the PD and everywhere else. So that means you got to bring your $13 million budget down to $8 million. Is that, I mean, that ballpark, that's about right, correct?
Looks like we
Hold, I'm
turning
talking.
to the budget
I'm talking.
session.
I'm talking.
From the numbers you've given, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're talking about almost slashing your budget in half. I mean, I don't think we understand the magnitude. And you know what, this problem that we're having now, it hasn't just started. It didn't happen last year, 2 years ago. This has been happening for years. The city has been overspending for years, and the council members of the past have kicked the can down the road. That's the only thing that's happened. We don't have money, let's go to Measure H. We don't have money, let's get money from here. Let's move money around. You know, look, it's time that we figure out what we're going to do, because, you know, we continue to live day by day in the city just paying the bills. We don't have money for parks. We can't do anything for our citizens because there's no money. And now, you know, we're 4 million in the hole. I mean, are we going to continue to live like this just day by day, having our kids play at water retention bases because we can't afford a park, because we can't afford park maintenance? You know, we got to get a hold of our finances, people. I mean, that's the number one thing we got to get a hold of. And, you know, I just hope we figure out a way how to do it for the good of everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Real, but you have to correct it. The former council is not all of them to responsible on this.
I didn't say names.
Okay.
I didn't say names.
Well, when you're the former council, you belong to hold the five of them.
Si te quedó el saco, póntelo,
2
compa.
years I'm fighting for correcting our budget, you were cruising the street. You never done anything, never say anything to the correctors, try to save the cities. Even after you elected, you made the supporting the bad administration, and it cost us a $13 million overspending.
$13 million overspending?
Yes.
So I overspent $13 million in 12 months.
You support the bad administration.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to this city.
Yes.
What did I say about blaming? And here
So-
you guys are blaming. It's done, get over it, move on, give us something.
That's I'm correcting. That's I'm correcting. Don't try to throw the someone else. You the only one that's the
I
savior for the city.
I publicly said that I made a mistake. It is what it is.
Everybody screwed up.
Yeah, we all screwed
We
up.
all did. We all screwed up. We believe we screwed up, move on. What do we know do now?
Okay.
My recommendation would be to, let's get back to the Collaborative Reform Initiative and just wait till the Department of Justice contacts me.
Okay. I really recommend to the police department, and don't wait until city help you guys. I like to have you guys put own effort to self-training yourself, try to looking for you can be better officers that help the city and help better for the citizens of the Calexico. And I really try to work with the police departments, but I need help from you guys. And we need help from you guys to serve our community right and better, and to make the better police departments, instead of dissolving the police departments. Some of the council member wants that, but it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys how to approach it. We can build a new police department with the better references, or we're gonna lose. So it's up to you guys we need a lot of help from you guys. And I believe Mr. Chief Gomez and you guys work together. I believe you guys can prove yourself.
Well,
Thank you.
Before this initiative reform program came out, I was already addressing these findings prior to the DOJ report even being known to me. Issues such as training, equipment, and other issues regarding the facility itself. But without knowing exactly how much I have in my budget, then I have to focus on other issues. But these are issues that, since I got hired, we've been addressing as they come along.
Mr. Gomez, I have some question. If you found something your officers doing like a drug dealing or like some accusation of bad things, you're gonna say report to the public, say, oh, our officer doing bad, or you're gonna investigate and arrest them?
I'd investigate and arrest them.
So we go to public, that means not a mild case or nothing there.
I wouldn't know how to answer that.
So the police officer's job is, if we have something criminal case going on, we should take action to proper action to correct it.
That's correct.
But without the correcting action, accusation publicly, what are we going to get?
Rumors.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Is any council member to ask more question to Mr. Gomez?
I think that,
Hurtado.
Mr. Gomez, I think that what the mayor has said to you and to the department is probably pretty unfair. It's not just up to you. It's not just up to you, and it's not just up to the officers. This is supposed to be teamwork, and we need to give you the tools. So it's unfair to think, I mean, if Mr. Kim would have been there at the DOJ plenty of time, or any of you, Mr. Real, you weren't there either, to have heard what they said. They said that the department
Did you
has
just say
been working
teamwork?
has been working under a condition of a broken system. So that system's not your fault, the broken system. The system is something we need to assist as a team to be able to give you the right tools, especially knowledge. Because right now, again, I'm surprised you haven't been given a budget or any knowledge as far as what you're going to spend. So if we're going to solve this and you're telling us you need staff and you need some money to be able to have your solutions, then why aren't we then providing that? The comment about saying this is all up to you, that's not right. That's not the way it should be. This is the effort between this administration that gives you the tools. We're not giving them to you. We're failing you. I don't think we should continue doing that.
Thank you. I have a question, another question, I forgot. Remember the investigator from the Norman Strauss? the who cost of $500,000 for that for investigate forms. I think the lady name is Betty,
Yes,
to build us to about $6,000,
yes,
and to meeting the DOJ, the investigator at the Palm Spring.
if I remember correctly, she was a point of contact for the Calexico Police Department.
Mhm.
It was an invoice that I received for over $6,000 for meeting the Department of Justice in Palm Springs.
So include the hotel fees.
Pardon?
Including the hotel fees.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. That no wonder why we paying them to the law firm, the investigative firms to $500,000 to that.
as a result of that invoice, I contacted the Department of Justice,
Mhm.
introduced myself as the interim chief, and I told them that I am now the point of contact for the Calexico Police Department.
So until that time, or even you said that them, probably they still gonna contact by the investigators to try to giving their version of the reports.
Could be so.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Finley, I requested to redact the invoice from the investigations.
We are working on those invoices to deduct them, yes.
So when can be done?
As soon as possible, because the attorney will have to review them, get
Yeah.
deducted.
Probably wants to know where is the $1 million, how they go, who took the money. Thank you. Okay, if they have any question, we're gonna go for the next. Or we're gonna have some action.
This is just discussion.
Yeah, discussion, okay. And number 4, discussion on various solar panel programs affecting residents of Calexico. Several citizens, they told me they're gonna come, and looks like nobody didn't come. Nobody submit the paperwork to talk.
Mr. Kim, I have a question.
Yes.
Do the solar panels, is that a program, the one you're speaking of, or the one that's here on the agenda, are those residents dealing directly with the city? Or are they dealing with a private solar company or the local energy company?
They dealing with the private solar company, and they've been installed. They've been installed by the private company, and regardless without proper permit.
Oh, so the companies don't have permits to install, they don't
No, I
have
mean,
a...
proper, what's called the proper quarters they can connect the programs.
Proper what?
Their IID, they have some kind of quarter, how many megawatts they can be
okay.
connected at the system. But regardless, I don't know how they convince the people to get the contract without those kind of commitments. So what happens, lots of people, they be connected, and they cannot connect to the IID because IID, they already overused it.
So the city has authorization to look into these companies and find them if they're not properly permitted, or what authorization do we have over this, Mr.
Okay.
So let me, can I
I'm just trying to figure this out.
I
Why is this
understand-
on the agenda?
Let me-
I understand why,
What authorization
I understand
we have.
what Kim is saying.
Okay, let me
Um,
finish, then you can talk.
Yeah, I speak Kim
Okay.
a little bit.
And then the public,
Kimonese.
the only informed by the private company what is solar system going on. So they believe they're gonna be connected. So they have a loss of the connections. They're not allowed to connect to the system and the IID. And beside that, IID was saying the loss of the installation was filthy, which is not safety approval.
So
Safety reason.
why isn't this item
So
going
why
before the
this one?
IID?
Yes, please.
Well, I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay.
Good luck.
San Diego, and you go to San Diego City's website, they already have all the information to what kind of company they can find it, how they can get the federal grant, how can they get tax credits, and those all the form, even they helping them to get those kind of programs.
The city of San Diego is doing that?
Yes.
Or San Diego Gas and Electric?
No, City of San Diego.
Well, we don't know, there's no information in front of us.
City of San Diego.
We're just taking his
they
word.
They have a website. I print out. I dropped in my store. I print out all the their.
Hold on, you have a store?
You have a store?
You have a store?
I have at the store. I said. I dropped at the store.
Oh, at your wife's store, at your wife's store.
Okay.
I said I dropped at the store.
Not my store, you said. At my store. It's your store.
No, I dropped at the store.
Well, we can check for the
Yeah.
review for the.
Okay.
It's a replay.
So, what
Replay.
you guys?
What do you mean, you guys?
Look,
Throwing the flag.
What do
you
mean,
guys are just trying to mocking me.
We're
Go
not
ahead.
mocking you, we're just
You
listening
making
to
the
you.
show. You making the council
Oh,
meeting
here
as a
comes the
show.
landlord.
Go ahead. But documents there, the city informed to help the citizens
Okay.
how to get the system, how to get the grant and everything.
Have you heard of buyer beware?
Okay.
That's an old adage that every time someone knocks at your door and says that they're going to sell you a vacuum cleaner, you know, do you go, if they sell you a bum vacuum cleaner, are you going to go to the city and tell them, how can you help me? Is this what this is about? People are not satisfied with the solar panels that are being put up because they can't connect to the IID?
No, okay. IID was saying is that IID was saying is the safety issues. They're not properly installed.
So then someone would knock on your door and say, we're going to install solar panels here? Because I get phone calls like that all the time, and I just say, no, thank you.
I think
Can I give you some information, because I'm going through that process, what it is?
Could you go to the
Well,
microphone?
why don't you fill it up? We're still going to talk.
I'll sign afterwards.
Okay.
What it is, the other one. What it is, you first have to go through the IID. The IID came to my house, they measured my house, they checked everything, they did a complete profile. And then once you have that profile, if your house is fitted for solar energy, then they give the A-OK for any of the solar energy companies. Without that profile from IID, if they install, they're doing that against IID. And that's why whoever these people are not getting recognized, because first you have to go through an IID. It's a very extensive, what they do. I mean, it took them all day to do it at my house. And now I'm waiting for them to install, but first you have to go through the IID.
So
Okay,
I think
my intention is today to inform the community and try to build the system from the city to help the citizens to make sure to get the right process. That's my intention put on the agenda, just like Ms. Bernardo was saying about what she's been through, but a lot of people didn't go through that way.
I think what
They
happened.
believe, they've been informed that after install, they have to go get the permit from the IID. Even one of my friends, she was in that way. They were asking me, why city employees not coming for the inspection? After inspection, I need to go to IID to get the permit to the connected.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
Well, this is definitely it's amazing what's been going on with these solar panels. I'm talking amazing about it's. I think a lot of companies came in from other cities to fill a void, you know, of the solar panel. You know, a lot of people are looking at solar panels, and you know, it makes sense to some people to put them on their homes, and a lot of people went ahead and bought them. Unfortunately, the companies that were coming in from San Diego Gas and Electric, from Edison, from other places up north, they didn't know the proper procedures of how to do the business the right way. And you're correct, the businesses, you do have to go to IID first, and then they'll give you the permission to go ahead and install. Unfortunately, there's over 500 houses have been installed in the city of Calexico, and nobody, they're not going to be able to be connected to the IID because IID is saying, no, you didn't come through us first. So it's a big, I mean, it's definitely a big problem that's happened.
And you know, Mr. Real, I see those all over town.
Yeah.
They're all over town.
And these, you know, maybe what the council can do, and I'm just thinking of a solution here, is talk to maybe Ralph or make somewhere where the city no longer will take these solar panel, permits or applications until they have the IID application in front of you. I'm assuming that's probably, I'm assuming that's the easy fix, right? City manager or Ralph?
Yeah, I think
So-
we're gonna need to make the proper information to the community.
I think, is that the easy fix? That's probably the easy fix, right? I'm assuming. We probably want to ask an expert on this, and you're probably the
Mayor,
correct
council
person.
members, and it's true, there has been a major problem between IID and the solar panel contractors, not only Calexico, but throughout the whole valley. So what the IID did is that they started visiting all the different cities as well as Calexico, and they came in and we came to an agreement or an understanding. What's going to happen is that when the solar panel contractors come in and submit their paperwork and their application, then we will issue a permit for them. But it's up to the city to call the IID or make contact with the IID for connection. Before they do that, they need to go to the IID, present their plan to the IID, and it has to be an approved set of plans. It cannot just be plans that have not been reviewed and approved by the city. So it's almost like a catch-22. The city has to issue the permit first and the approved set of plans. But before they're connected, they have to go to the IID. The IID will give them a letter giving them permission to hook up. They will bring that to the city. They will present it to the city. At that point, the city will turn around and inform the IID that the work has been completed, it has been inspected, and they're ready to be connected.
Mr.
So-
Morales, has this process been effective for a while now?
No, this is something that we just started because the IID has been having issues, and so everything kind of backed up to them because they're the ones that are doing the connection. We're the ones that issue permits
On building?
on the building, and they're the ones that connect. So because they've been having such a large issue or problem, then they're the ones that have asked us to go ahead and go through this process. Not only Calexico, I want you to understand that. This has been throughout the whole Imperial Valley and part of Riverside.
But the article said mostly affecting the Calexico. Most of them like Calexico
It's the whole
residents.
county.
No, that's not true. Calexico has been, Calexico has been one of these cities that have been more effective in reviewing the plans and making sure that all the certifications are there. They did make mention that the neighboring city of Calexico has been the ones that have been having major issues because basically all the inspections they've done on the city as far as connections and make sure that the electrical upgrades have been done, has been done, so they're content with that. Some of the other cities has not even required for electrical upgrades, has not and then they have seen that some of the connection has not been done properly. So Calexico, I have to say, our building inspector has been doing a very effective job in ensuring that everything goes through. The city responsible to assure that, number one, there's enough voltage or amperage for the solar panels, and number two, that the connections are there. And also that the panels that are being put up, that the roof structure will support that. That is why the city of Calexico is one of the few cities that require a certified engineer stamp on their plans. And that shows that they have reviewed the structure and that the structure is strong enough to support the panels.
So in other words, to avoid further...
Liability on the city.
Well, not liabilities, but customers, residents in the Calexico purchasing solar panels, should we put something in perhaps the
water bill.
website or water bill regarding, don't construct or place solar panels on your roof until you meet with city or IID or something like that, or something that they're aware of so that they don't continue making these mistakes?
There's a lot of lies by the companies that are coming in, telling the people, for example, you're only going to have one bill, you won't pay IID anymore, and that what's going on is IID Right now only charges like $9 to be connected to the grid, but there's talk of, because they're losing revenue because of the solar panels, there's talk of raising that upwards of $50 per household. So, when they're telling people, listen, you're not ever going to pay a light bill anymore, that's not true. So a lot of companies are lying to the people because you will have an IID bill anyways, even if you do have solar panels. They also tell them they're going to make money off the solar panels, and that's not true either. That the excess of energy that you give back to the grid, IID stays with it. They don't pay you for it. So a lot of stuff that's been going on, and it's unfortunate. But I motion well, I would say we give direction to staff to maybe set up something for the water bill that we can send to the community and let them know that, what, as far as the city, what your professional opinion is, what steps they take. Maybe it's contacting IID first, or the city, or, something like that. If somebody wants to.
I will refer to tomorrow about the City of San Diego to have a website to helping all the grant informations, the tax credit information, to companies, reliable companies information, things, those kind of things, and the steps. But I think it's,
Is that legal? That we put a San Diego website on our
No,
water
no.
bill?
Identify the process on the city's website.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he
no,
wants to
it's-
say, like, put something on there so you can go to the City of San Diego website to show you
No,
the process.
Like
no,
a link?
we can make our own.
That's what I'm saying. Make.
We can make our own like San Diego. All the information, and plus I believe you're talking about they need to have our permit first to go to the IID. So why don't we go to two steps of the permit? It's like a pre-qualification permit, so they can go take that one to the IID to get their permit review, and then when everything's done, then they come to the city again for the final permit. So that way we can prevent it, systemically to prevent that.
Okay, we can do that. We could go ahead and put the ID website or the linkage to the website, because that's where they need to go. And the ID, just like Ms. Bernal said, the ID then is a responsible party that's going to have the last word whether or not they get connected. Basically, all we do is we give it a permit to the product that they want to install. But if they go to the ID first, then the ID can give them all the information. And also, there are some companies that are saying that they'll get a rebate, and not everybody qualifies for a rebate. So,
But like Mr. Leal said, lots of companies, they lie to the consumers, to say, oh, you don't have to go, and then you just do it ourselves, and then you go to just like my friend, she was saying is, she's been informed, when we finish, we got all inspection approved by the city, then they can go to get the IID, get the connection. But when she go there, and then there's no programs anymore available.
unfortunately, what happens is it's the contractor that comes in and pulls a permit. So we don't talk to the homeowners or anything. But if the homeowners do call us, and again, we'll do the notice in the water bill. But if the homeowners do call us, then we can tell them where to go to get more information, and that would be the ID, because the ID is the one that gives the rebates. They've got all that funding that can help them out and everything.
So why don't we have a two-step of the permit process on the solar? That way they can get the pre-qualification, just like mortgage, pre-qualification to go with the IID to get all the inspection. Then after the IID passed, and then we have a final permit to them.
I don't know if that would be an executive decision on behalf of the general manager of the IID or board action from the IID. To partner with this, I think he's talking about a partnership.
No, not really, because that's just our portion. We're going to pre-qualifications they can get that, they can take that on permit, temporary permit to the IID to get the process going on, and then come back for the final ones. At the same time, we can have like a written process at the front desk and the website and the water bill.
So there you have it, Mr. Kim, your platform for the IID election.
No, it's not the platform. You're talking about the platform. This is a complaint from people.
Okay.
My platform is different.
Okay.
Thank you. But this one is, we're talking about the steel company programs. And we need to protect the citizens to make sure. Is there any lawyer, Mr. Campo? Is there any city level we can punishing, or we can to take them some criminal activity from the spenders?
From the solar companies?
Yes, because they are lying.
Probably not. I mean, those
process.
are private contracts that are negotiated between residents and these private companies.
But they're lying.
But that would be,
misleading the people.
that would be a harm upon the resident themselves, not the city. What we can do is we can be proactive and provide information on the website to the water builder.
Okay.
Ensure people are getting the proper permits to IID. But in terms of the city, looking at holding these solar companies responsible, we would not have any contractual privity with them to be able to do that.
Okay, so thank you. But we can eliminating their license, or the city license.
They would need a city license. We can make certain requirements.
We can cancel the city license too. Thank you. So, Mr. Finley, would you look into all the different matters to protect the citizens? Thank you. So, Ms. Bernal, thank you for your information. And looks like we don't have any more people from the public about this solar panel. And Mr. Cunhas, you wrote the permit, you wrote the speak, but we already speak. Do you have really important to say things?
It was just a follow-up to some of the comments that were made regarding the police department.
Okay, before you go, just short.
Yeah, very short.
Yeah.
Sean Acuna, Calexico CPOA. Just to follow up, Mr. Kim, with regard to the training, every officer welcomes training. When you're trained, you're well disciplined, and it goes hand in hand. So we welcome that anytime we can receive it. But again, it's a resource. I mean, it requires money to do that on occasion. Sometimes there is money available through the state of California that pays for it, but not always. The other thing I wanted to say that nobody's mentioned really is, it's my understanding that the outlets, it's going to build its second or its third phase. We have the brand new port of entry being built. We have the Aldi's Market that's already been, it's working or is in service as we speak. And it's my understanding that Cardenas Market may be coming to where the old Vaughn's on 2nd Street used to be. So those are positive things that they're going to provide commerce or funds to the city. Maybe not right now. It's going to take a few years, but it's something to look forward to. It seems like the city of Calexico is moving in a positive direction in the future. There is some light at the end of the tunnel. And without getting into what's going on with negotiations, I just want to say that there's 2 items that we've brought up that are going to save the city money. And it's going to benefit the community, it's going to benefit the city, and thirdly, the officer. We've come up with a plan, and it's a work in progress. So just want to let you know we are working toward that goal.
Thank you, Mr. Cunha. Well, when I was talking about the self-training, for example, I'm elected as a school board, and I couldn't read the budget much well. Even I was seeing the budget, and I have to study myself. I have to study myself to read the budget. After I know how to read the budget, I busted their fake budget and see the same things.
Well, that's
so
good to know.
You have to learn. Sometimes you have to learn yourself. Thank you.
That's good to know. I wouldn't have gotten any sleep last night if I wouldn't have known that.
Okay. So we have number 5. Statutes on the bullying of the students complaint. I think Mr. Gomez.
This is like more stuff for the police advisory board. I don't know. We're going through every case in the city of Calexico.
There's no backup on all this stuff, right? No backup at all, right?
You're joking, but when you got your kid is in something in trouble, you weren't joking. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to provide a status regarding this
Exactly.
investigation, other than it's an ongoing investigation.
Exactly.
So do we
So
go in
that means he
proper
can't.
process?
Are you following the process?
It's an ongoing investigation.
Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any public that wants to talk. Then we're gonna go to number 6. Discussion and or direction on Hunter Professional Service Agreement.
There's no backup item for item number 6 either?
Mr.
City Attorney, could we try to avoid putting items on with no backup? I mean, we have no idea what we're going to talk about, no opportunity to be prepared.
Mr. Finley?
The Mayor can request this item to be put on the agenda as to the discussion on the Hunter Personnel Services. He'd like to know what the contract states. The contract states that the Hunter Professional Services Agreement can be terminated with a 15-day notice to the staffing agency.
Yeah, I understand. That's why we put the kind of direction, because the discussion of direction, because the Hunter service is been involving politically all too much and influencing by the politics. That's why we need to talk discussion today openly, because we cannot go all the council members together in closed session. This is public contract. And
This is a city manager decision, right? You can, I mean, the council doesn't have to vote on something like this. You can switch companies if you want.
yeah,
That's
that's
by
why
executive
that's why I put in the direction.
Okay, but that's, let the city manager decide what company he wants to have as far as staffing. Why, I mean, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's the politically influencing. That's we have evidence.
Oh, you have evidence?
There's politics in every aspect of life. What are you talking about?
Is he one of your officers, Chief Gomez? Where do you go? Mr. Kim? You have evidence on what?
No, some influencing.
Like,
Somebody was influencing Hunter.
Hunters to what to do, not to do.
on the council? On the council or where?
Not council, not the council. I'm talking about we've been hunter groups. They sending the people hired by them to when we need that personnel. So we up to 1,000 hours we get service through the hunter.
Right, they staff or?
Yeah, they're staffing for us.
Uh-huh.
And actually, we should not doing it, but we're doing it right now.
Doing what?
The staffing. We should have a hire our own the part-timer instead of using the hunters.
I thought you learned how to read the budget.
Oh, yes.
What budget? We don't have a budget.
So
I'm not sure what the desired outcome of this discussion is, Mr. Fenley. Did he discuss this with you prior to going on the agenda?
He told me exactly what he just stated now, that Hunter was practicing political activity of some sort.
I believe this has to do with the firing of a Hunter employee. I think Mayor Kim believes that it was political and thus wants to punish Hunter Professional Services or take them out of the, is there a list of there's a list, right, of people, of agencies that the city works with, I believe?
Currently, the contract that we have is with Hunter and Manpower.
Okay, so you have a few contracts.
Yes, there's
Okay.
Manpower, there's Labor Ready, there's On-Site, there's other agencies out there that provide this service.
Okay. I motion to go on to item number 7. I don't see, I think that's an administrative decision by the city manager. Let him pick what professional services he wants to do. I mean, if he thinks Hunter shouldn't be, or whatever.
Okay, so.
Oh, my goodness. Who do you buy toilet paper from? Maybe we should micromanage everything.
It's not the micromanagement. They are involving with the politics decision. And
Only
That's a good
1,000
question.
hours, Maribel.
That's a good question.
Only 1,000 hours.
I'll take 1,000 hours, we can rotate. Works for me.
Timeshare.
So we cannot have our employees for the keep changing. We need to train the employees to our step. That way, efficiency is going to be on our city's business. That's what I'm saying.
Sure, Mayor, I suggest
That's
you
what I'm
not
saying.
take any questions from the audience unless they come up here, please.
Thank you.
Let's get back on track.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I believe that we talking at the front of the public, what the issues is. My major object is been reached, and my major object to reach. I like to want to talk about any other groups involving in influencing the politically. We try to bring this discussion from the public. That's my main object.
Who's going to discuss on
Yeah,
on
I
this?
don't. I'm not intending to say Mr. Finley to say to don't hire them. More than my intention is publicly what situation we have to let the public know what's going on. That's my major intentions. And Mr. Finley and I discussed a lot of times, we should have a part-timers, our own part-timer instead of the staffing from the hunter. That way we save more money. And we have some trained employees. Okay, so, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have a question to Mr. Finley. If we decide not to contract, we continue contract with the hunter, can the city of Calexico contract the people and we can save some money because of that, or we need to either contract some other companies like hunters? Is there a difference?
I think
A huge difference? That's my question.
I think, and I don't know from a legal standpoint, my understanding is that cities, municipalities, and government agencies go to these temp agencies because of the, it's you're not dealing with unions, you're not dealing with insurance costs, you're not dealing with workman's compensation. If you bring people on as part-time or permanent part-time, then you do bring people on, like, correct me if I'm wrong, you do bring people on, but at the same time, you're opening yourself to workman's comp cases and that type of scenario for the city. And now, if you were hiring secretaries, I might say it's probably not a big deal, other than carpal tunnel maybe. But when you're hiring hard labor, people are going to be carrying heavy things and cutting grass or making holes, or you're obviously, the risk of that person running into a workman's comp case or an insurance claim is a lot higher than a secretary. So sometimes, when you do, I think what we need to do is some type of cost-benefit analysis on us doing it on our own versus working with Hunter or another temp agency, and maybe see, but then again, then I guess this is something the city council should not be doing. I think it's more of a city manager can do that analysis and say, you know what, we should do this, and you could do it administratively. But if the council wants to micromanage the city manager, then might as well give us a cost-benefit analysis on two different styles of hiring
Mr.
these
Real, I
people.
thought Mr. Castro was asking a question.
Well, I speak Castro too. But
We have a new city manager.
I'm just waiting for the answer from
We have
the
a new
city
city
manager.
manager, Mr. Real.
I mean, that's pretty much what.
So we have a backdoor city manager, Mr. Real.
But I'm still waiting.
I just heard backdoor.
I would like to hear from the city manager.
And Councilman Real is correct. The reason that we went to the temp agencies was to save us on our workman's comp cost. And that's the reason we took that route. But there is the option, there's two options. One, we continue with a temporary staffing agency, whether it be Hunter or on-site manpower, whoever it might be, or the option two would be taking it back to our own 1,000-hour part-time program and us absorbing the workman's comp. So there's two options, and both options, the costs are are about equal the same. However, we're not, by hiring an agency, we're not taking on that workman's comp liability.
Okay, so yeah, maybe, I mean, would the council like to maybe have some concurrence on the city manager giving us, kind of cost-benefit analysis on doing both of them? Not just that, but as far as liability as well. What, if we're, if we're opening ourselves up to more workman's comp cases, which in turn our insurance would go up, and, I think there's a reason why temp agencies exist, and it's because of that. I think it's an easier way to get out of problems at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if you bring on part-time staff, you have to monitor their hours, and to the extent they exceed 1,000 hours, you would have to bring them on as full-time employees. So what ends up happening, you have to monitor the hours, and unfortunately, you have to start then laying off people right before they approach the 1,000 hours. That's how come a lot of times when cities aren't sure of where the funding is going to come for, and you need a part-time employee, you go to a temp agency and bring them in just for a time allowed, and then go a different direction.
So maybe something that has to do with costs, and also like maybe a risk management report on, I guess, is that?
Mr. Philly, how many employees do you have, temporary employees?
Currently, I believe there's 50 total.
How much? How many?
50 total,
50 total?
correct.
So we had about 100, we've gone down a lot.
The majority are in the police department, traffic control division, and in that division is the majority of the staffing.
Yeah, but we were, I think, so early last year, the fiscal year, what understanding we have about 100 employees, temporary employees.
Currently, we're down to 50.
Now it's about 50.
Correct.
So we cut down a lot.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion, well, it's not an
Okay,
action item.
so I believe Mr. Philly to understand some certain issues, or probably understand certain issues about some political pressure about the Hunter is not taking it. So I like to see the more, first of all, I'd like to see the more variety of the temporary agencies coming in to fulfill the position. That way we can do to manipulate, what's it called, the manipulating by the one agency.
Let me translate that. I think that what he's trying to say is that Hunter needs to go.
What are we paying her for?
I think what he's saying is Hunter needs to go, and you need to work with other agencies that aren't political, that are not political. All right. Can we move on to item 7?
Okay, number 7. We can go to number 7. Mr. Finley, you was going to say something?
Charter
Okay.
Committee came, okay.
Okay, I believe that Mr. Brian Wang was accepting, but later on he found that he's doing the summer school, he can't have time. So I have to find someone else.
Maribel Padilla will be willing to be on the, no? You can appoint her.
I take that as an emphatic no.
Lalo Lopez?
But this one doesn't have to be, this is kind of a short-term commission.
be on this
Doesn't
one
have
too.
to be like a standing the commission, no? Committee. Only for the short-term for the one purpose.
Yeah, I'm not sure if your code, I don't think your code makes a distinction between ad hoc or standing. But I don't think your code makes a distinction between ad hoc or a standing committee, if I'm correct.
What about Bill Hodge?
So you mean they're gonna go into the same category?
Yeah, I
Same rules?
don't have it in front of me, but I want to say that the code that only allows one on one committee, I don't think it makes a distinction between an ad hoc committee or
So
standing.
you don't have anything clear for that?
So-
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Castro, you have,
Yes, I would like to appoint Mr. Yañez for
his,
Huh? He can be into, no?
so we're gonna go next.
Someone from the...
Okay, so I think we have
Someone off the street, mejor.
conclude all the,
Lalo?
Yeah.
No, elected person, we cannot be any committee.
No, she's not on any committee.
But
She
you're an
can be on-
elected official, right?
Yeah, but that's okay.
As an elected official
Cannot be there.
Elected officials can't be in committees?
No,
for another,
no. Okay,
she's an
so,
elected official in another district,
doesn't
which
matter.
is a healthcare
They
district.
don't have any clarifications. It's any,
So-
any official elected.
Any elected official, okay.
Okay, so if we don't have anything more discussion,
Resign.
then we're gonna have adjournments. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Second by Mr. Real. Thank you. We adjourn the meeting 8 PM.